The storm's victims, not in need of medical attention, sought shelter with friends and relatives. At the Union School, Mrs. Madeline Foster received treatment for a bump on the head. She was caught in the height of the storm while at work.
I wasn't frightened. I just thought, I'm out of being able to do anything for myself. I guess I'm going to go, you know. And then afterward, you work on instinct. Like, for instance, I was thrown against a wall. You instinctively look for more protection.
Mrs. Foster was the only person to receive medical attention in the Red Cross shelters in Windsor Locks. The medical volunteers were well prepared.
At one time, we had 2 ambulances ready to roll, one from East Granby and the other was a Beacon ambulance. And we had people from Mount Sinai Hospital, people from the health center.
While the medical volunteers left the shelters at 9 o'clock, others remained behind to offer food and bedding for the night.
The Red Cross was prepared to move 200 carts and blankets here into the Union School. In the words of one volunteer, "I'll be tickled pink if we never have to use them." In Windsor Locks, I'm Lou Brown, Channel 30 News.
Several personal stories from this storm Wednesday. 58-year-old Raymond Lamott of Hartford was driving along Route 75 when the jet used as a display in front of the airport Ramada Inn blew off its base and crashed across the trunk of his car. He said from a stretcher in the St. Francis Hospital emergency room, "I didn't know what was going on. It got dark. The window on the right side blew in. It was like a science fiction movie, like a big monster coming at me." During its passage through the state, the tornado took a vicious swipe at the area around Bradley International Airport, and there was extensive damage at the airport itself. Ed Harrigan has that story.
Fortunately, the storm bypassed the terminal building, which was crowded with stranded passengers, after a power failure caused all flights to be canceled. Not so lucky, however, was the section of the airport surrounding the Pratt & Whitney B-52 test hangar. The roof of the building collapsed, injuring a still undetermined number of people inside, while dozens of small aircraft were tossed about like matchsticks. Later this evening, State Transportation Commissioner Arthur Powers estimated that damage at the field could run as high as $100 million.
The east side of the airport was devastated, and that includes the Air Command buildings and their training school, the National Guard with all of the helicopters, and many private planes. I saw the helicopters that were thrown into the trees like toys. I'd say some 15 or 20 were absolutely destroyed. There were several $1 million in airplanes that were just absolutely destroyed. There were airplanes and helicopters inside the Air Command building, which were piled up in the back of the building like toys. It's the only way I can describe it. The Air Museum was completely destroyed. The Air Command building, and Air Command supplies us with all of our gasoline and maintenance needs at the airport. It's a candelabra building that was badly damaged. Our equipment up there and for snow removal and so on had some damage, but in looking it over, I thought we were particularly lucky in that more of it was not damaged. But the whole east side is destroyed, and including some 5 radio towers, which will give us some communications problems at the airport. The airport itself is out of electricity at this time, and unfortunately one of our water pumps has malfunctioned, and we cannot cool the emergency generators, so we have no electric power there. But it's hoped that we will have electric power by tomorrow, and that the airport will be open by tomorrow noon. That is the target date that we're looking for.
Among the first to arrive at the high-intensity damage area was airport manager Leo Cordier. And like Commissioner Powers, he was stunned by the fury of the storm.
The east side of the airport is really a disaster area, a complete disaster area. The damage is multi-millions. All aircraft over on this side of the airport, including the Air Museum with the older aircraft, is completely wiped out. It's really a sad sight to behold.
Have you heard any reports of injuries or fatalities?
We've had some very serious injuries. They were evacuated by helicopter and also by ambulances. The only way out was across the runways. We automatically closed the airport the minute it hit, and we could assess the damage a little bit.
I understand there's a danger now of gasoline in the area?
Yes, there's fumes and gasoline all over the area. Gas mains broken, a water supply completely gone. It's really something to consider a 100% total disaster on this side of the airport.
While the passenger terminal lay outside the path of today's tornado, the power failure that resulted caused mass confusion for traveler and official alike.
We're trying to get an assessment of the situation. I have no knowledge that's quotient right now. As soon as the people get in, I may have more information. I'm sure I will have more information. We've got all sorts of help coming. Other than that, I can't give you much more information.
What people do you expect to come in?
All sorts of people.
What will they be doing?
All work on the airport, cleaning up the debris and so on.
Have you heard any damage reports?
There's been damage reports, but I have no knowledge of the extent of the damage.
A short time later, about 5:15, airport officials decided to evacuate the terminal as a precautionary measure. This is Ed Harrigan, Channel 30 News.
And another story of a close call. 21-year-old Michael Puglisi of Windsor was interviewed again on a stretcher outside the emergency room at St. Francis Hospital in Hartford. He said he was driving in a car along the airport's border when the storm hit. His words, "The wind started picking up so I couldn't see. I pulled over to the side and the wind blew in the back and side windows. Then the car rolled over 2 or 3 times. Somehow I got out. The winds were carrying me, so I grabbed onto a tree. I could see trailer trucks tipping over. I saw the planes at the Bradley Air Museum flying all around. I could see tops of roofs being torn off. All I heard was a real loud whooshing noise. I thought that was it for me." Winds of up to 75 miles an hour smashed into western Massachusetts Wednesday as well, knocking out power in thousands of homes, uprooting trees, ripping off roofs and causing massive floods and rush hour traffic jams. No casualties were reported, and no damage estimates were available at this hour. The damaging winds and heavy rains rolled north from Connecticut when that tornado tore into the Windsor Locks area. Part of the roof of the Granger Elementary School in Agawam blew off, littering the street and temporarily trapping children boarding a bus for home at the end of the school day. The children were returned to the school auditorium to wait 30 minutes before being returned to the bus. A second tornado, part of the same storm system that spawned the one in Connecticut, touched down in North Adams, Massachusetts as well. State Health Commissioner Dr. Douglas Lloyd said 300 people were treated and released from hospitals and emergency rooms in the area. He said another 118 were hospitalized, including 10 in critical condition. So in all in Connecticut, more than 400 people injured in Wednesday afternoon's storm. There was one fatality, the dead man identified as 24-year-old William Kowalski of Manchester. He and 2 associates working on the outside of a building in Windsor Locks saw the tornado coming. They jumped into a truck. Kowalski told his 2 companions to get down. A piece of lumber crashed through the windshield. Kowalski was struck in the head. Within 30 minutes of when the tornado hit, area hospitals had implemented their disaster plans. Emergency rooms became major trauma centers, and all of the attention was given to tornado victims. Tom Monahan was at 2 of the busier hospitals this evening. Here's his report.
It is now estimated that anywhere between 300 and 400 people received hospital treatment because of the storm. Tonight, 12 are in critical condition. Most of the patients were taken to Mount Sinai Hospital in Hartford. Doctors there looked at more than 100 people and admitted 13, 4 of these in critical condition. One of those less seriously hurt was Eve Campanelli of Suffield, an employee of the Bradley Windsor branch of the Hartford National Bank, located in Windsor Locks.
We were in the bank about 10 minutes of 3. We seen it getting very dark, and the employees were still in there. The tellers were trying to work, but all the lights went out. And then we knew there was something's going to happen. I went to the doors started rattling, and I went over to the front door to lock it. I asked the manager, let's lock the doors, when you're in a bank. Well, I went to the door, I couldn't lock it. Then all of a sudden, I turned around, and I started running into the little outer office we have, and I seen Mr. Bork, Tom Bork, blown right across the room, the whole front window. We have a large picture window there. When I seen that, I really ran into the room and ducked under the little table that we have there. Well, that was it. Then everything started falling on me. I was trapped underneath. It was still howling, the rain was just pouring in, and the debris was just falling on me. So John Powers, our assistant there, he was next to me. He says, Eve, duck, don't move, just lay there. He was trapped, but he got out, but I couldn't get out. They finally had to call the emergency, and they got some kind of a gadget, and they picked up the beams, got that off my back. but I couldn't get my foot loose. So they had to jack that up, and they finally pulled me out. Tom Bork was still trapped in back of me.
They tell me that there's